It has been over 10 months since I've been to a cubing competition, and over those 10 months, I've done a lot of practice and improving. So to see just how much I've improved, I went to another cubing competition and tried to break all of my current PRs. But before I started breaking PRs, I first needed to set a few PRs for events like 4x4 and Scube. So for this first round of 4x4, I really wasn't expecting much because I don't really practice 4x4 much, but for reference, I average about 1 minute and 30 seconds, so I was hoping to get somewhere around there for the time. The cutoff was 1 minute and 45 seconds, but I don't think I really had a problem with that. This solve ended up being 1 minute and 29 seconds, which I will definitely take that. That's pretty good. So for the second round, I was already feeling pretty good. I came off a pretty good solve for me, and so I was just hoping to get something, pretty average or at least under 1 minute and 30 seconds. And so getting a 1 minute and 22 second solve was pretty good. I was pretty happy with that, so yeah. At this point, I already had a pretty good solve and pretty average solve, so I knew if I didn't screw up, I had a pretty good average locked in. And fortunately, I didn't screw up at all. I actually got a pretty decent time of 1 minute and 24 seconds.
Nice.
Now, this fourth solve, unfortunately, did end up being one of the worst solves of the average. I don't know exactly what went wrong. I know there was a lot of parity, and I just didn't have great turning. But you know what? It was alright, because I think I already secured a pretty good average. For this last solve, I will admit I really wanted to get a sub 1 minute and 20, but it didn't really end up happening. But it's alright, because I still ended up getting a pretty good average and counting a lot of stuff. So I was pretty happy with what I did. And hey, new PR acquired, so we'll take that.
That's pretty good.
Now, the second solve that I didn't have any PRs in was Scube. And safe to say, I never practiced Scube. As in, I learned how to solve a Scube literally a week before this competition started. So safe to say, I really had no expectations going into this. So being able to get solves under 20 seconds was actually really cool for me, and I was pretty glad. The second Scube solve also went pretty well. I was remembering my L's, doing good finger tricks, and this solve ended up being 14 seconds as well. So also good consistency. I was pretty proud of myself at this point.
Horrible. I'll take it.
Now, I don't know how, but the Scube solves just kept getting better and better. This solve, I had a lot of good cases, and it ended up being a 10-second solve. I was really happy with this. Must have been the Panther sweater. Alright, so fourth solve, and at this point, I was kind of just blowing myself away. Like, I had never gotten solves anywhere close to this at home. And now I've got a sub 10 second solve? Like, you gotta be kidding me. This is insane. So yeah, for this final solve in Scube, I knew I'd already secured a great average for myself, and so I didn't really care what happened in this last solve, but I still ended up getting an 11-second time, which is actually crazy. I was so happy with this round of Scube. Now, time to get onto the events that I can actually start breaking my PRs in. The first one of these events was 3x3. Now, my previous PRs were for average 25 seconds and for single 18 seconds. For reference, I now average 15 seconds and my PR single is 10 seconds. So I was hoping to absolutely destroy my previous PRs. Unfortunately, I didn't get off to the best start with this first solve, but that's alright. I had 4 more solves to try to get a better time.
That's a bad way to start. Alright.
So now, coming off not the best start, I really wanted to get at least a sub 15, if not even a sub 14. So when I ended up getting a time that really wasn't very good again, I was pretty discouraged. Kind of the same things can be said about this solve as the last one. I really wanted a good time on this solve, and my last 2 times weren't very good. So if I wanted a PR that was actually good for me, I really needed to clutch up here. But again, I just end up getting not the best time. So yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. Alright, so this next solve is just straight up sad. I'm not even gonna lie. I was on pace to get like a 13 or 14, and then I messed up PLL, and so the solve ended up being just bad. I think it was like a 33-second solve or something like that, but yeah, pretty unfortunate. I can't even lie. Alright, so I kind of knew at this point that my average was completely ruined, so I just wanted a good single, or at least something like that. But unfortunately, not counting the solve where I screwed up, This one was the worst solve of the average. So yeah, pretty unfortunate round for 3x3, but it's alright. I'm sure we can make it up by doing well in some other event.
Okay. No, kept the average.
So now, coming off that kind of disappointing round of 3x3, I've got the Panthers sweater back on, and we're doing Pyraminx. And so this solve ended up being kind of good. Pyraminx is just one of those events that I don't really practice and somehow do well at in competitions. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll take it. So yeah, this second solve also ended up being pretty good. I don't even know how I do this. Like, I swear I don't practice Pyraminx at all, and I'm just like randomly kind of good at it. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll take a 9-second solve, but you know, that's pretty cool.
Very good scrum.
All right, so third solve of Pyraminx. So far going pretty strong. Hoping to get another sub 10 here, but I was thinking in my head it might not happen. Somehow it did. I ended up getting another sub 10, which is actually kind of crazy. I was not expecting to do this at all. So fourth solve for Pyraminx, and at this point, my goal was kind of just to get a clean sub 10 average. But unfortunately, I didn't end up doing that. This solve ended up being a 10.3, which is still a good time for me, but it did kind of ruin my sub 10 clean average, so that's kind of sad, but it's whatever, you know.
I was going.
And so finally, final solve for Pyraminx, and at this point I really just had no goals. My clean sub 10 average was ruined, and a PR single would be cool, but my previous PR single was 6 seconds, so I really didn't think that was going to happen. And I did end up getting my best solve of the average, 9.18, which made it a good average, but that's kind of it. And now, for the final round, 2x2. The reason I almost didn't make this video, because I thought my PR was going to be nearly impossible to beat. I had a PR of 4 seconds flat at the time. Let's see if I can break that PR.
Okay, ready?
Now, for this first solve, the box was in front of the camera, but then it moves. At first I see nothing, but then I realize I have my Panthers hoodie on. This solve must be good. I start going, and it starts out really good. I get the top done, I solve the cube, and it's really fast. I'm excited, but it's not a PR, it's a 4.7. Next solve, I pick up the cube, and I immediately see some good bars and some good pairs I can go off of. I set the cube down, I'm ready, and I start going. I go fast. Oh my gosh, this could be a PR. But I take too long in the recognition. It's still a really good solve, though. I'm winding up for a good average here, folks.
That's alright.
And I start inspecting now. Okay. I obviously see something pretty good because I'm taking a long time in inspection here. Okay, I start to solve. And we're going. It's pretty fast. It's pretty fast right now. A few lockups, though. And I finish the solve very quickly, but unfortunately it's another 5. I'm gonna need to do pretty well to clutch up the average.
That's too bad.
And I pick up the cube to start the inspection. I almost turned the cube there. That would have been a bad penalty. But I see something good here, and I'm almost ready to start inspection. I start the solve now. Okay, I'm going pretty fast. It's a good solve. Skip here. Oh my gosh, he's done it. He's done it. Sub 4. Let's go. And so at this point, for me, the competition was pretty much over. I'd gotten my PR single and average for 2x2, and if I could get a good solve on this last one, I might even get a really, really good sub 4 average. And it was a pretty good solve, but not enough to give me a sub 4 average, unfortunately. Even though I didn't get a sub 4 average, though, I was really proud of how I did in this competition, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
Okay, that's alright. I could have been faster, though. I kind of fumbled.
Still good.
Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, because I sure had a lot of fun at this cubing competition. But there still remains the question, can I beat every single one of my PRs at a cubing competition? And to that I would say, no, I'd actually say no, because for some reason, at my last competition, I absolutely popped off at Pyraminx, and I wasn't able to beat those PRs at this competition. So yeah, I hate Pyraminx so much. I hate it.